Hi, so I'm here with Caroline Voaden, who is our local Member of Parliament for the area. We're just going to talk about her today. She's come to Totnes to visit as part of the Heritage Day. What do you think is important about things like Heritage Days, Caroline?
Well, I think opening up all these old buildings for people to go and have a look round is a way of encouraging people to see a side of the town that they don't normally see. You know, you go about your daily life, you're busy, you don't often take the time to sort of visit the heritage in your own backyard. I think you're much more likely to do it when you're a tourist and you're visiting somewhere else than in your hometown.
Yes, when I lived in London, I never went to Tower Bridge.
Exactly. And I only went to Tower Bridge just as we moved out of London, and I knew that we would be leaving. So I think it just seeing these places and sort of reading a little bit about their background and the history and everything, I think it just makes you realise how rooted the town is and how old it is. And if you compare it to what's happening in Gaza at the moment, I find that quite distressing that so much has been destroyed. And, this town, this building we're actually sitting in right now has been here since the 16th century, 400 or 500 years. And it's quite remarkable that it's still here and in such good condition, and that you can feel the history in the walls of the place.
I noticed this today when I was walking around looking at the pictures of the mayors, and it was really lovely to see slowly but surely an increase of women's photographs being included. And really what we have a record of in doing so is not just the history, but the way that culture changes.
Absolutely. And we play a game in Parliament when we go into rooms and to try and spot the woman in the painting, because we do spend our lives surrounded by paintings of old men.
Yes.
And, there aren't enough paintings of women sitting on those benches in Parliament, so you can really feel how different it is today to how it was for such a long time.
Even in my childhood, it would have been pictures of men. What do you think it is that, being the MP now for this area, I would say more than this town, having a woman represent this area, how has that changed, or what are your focuses that might be different?
Well, I'm not the first, am I? Because
no.
We did have Sarah for a good few years. I mean, I don't know how much difference it makes, apart from the fact that you might be inclined to focus on slightly different things as a woman. But I do think what you focus on as a Member of Parliament is very much down to your own background and your own life experience. And there's more to that than just being a man or a woman. So it probably is slightly different if you're a man or a woman, but it's also about the type of upbringing you had, the type of family you lived in, the type of job you did before you went into politics. So I think every MP brings something different to the job. And I certainly feel that I focus on different areas than the previous MP. So he was really interested in business and investment and trade and stuff like that. And I think I focus more on, I suppose, what you might typically call women's issues, but education, children, health, disability, and then also looking at things like farmers and the fishing community, which is huge. Every MP for this area has to be focused on fishing, whether they like it or not. Yeah. So I suppose there are certain things that just come out of your own life experience that you want to focus on.
I would say that in the last few years, we might say that we've seen the rise of a lot more career politicians, in the sense that people may be viewing being a politician as a stepping stone to a more lucrative types of careers afterwards. How true would you say that, holding firm to the ideals of serving your people and your country is for you? How has that been, drawing you to politics?
Well, I'm certainly not a career politician. I'm way too old now to be a career politician. I've been working for a good 30, 35 years before I went into it. I mean, what drew me into it was Brexit. So I was so angry about Brexit, but I realised I actually hadn't done anything to prevent it happening. I hadn't been out there campaigning, I hadn't been delivering leaflets, I hadn't been talking to people on the street. And that's how you make change. So that's kind of why I got involved, because I realised that actually shouting at the television doesn't work. You have to be involved. And that goes for politicians, but also to everybody who, is a member of the town council or working for all these organisations that are running things like the Heritage Day today, you know, opening up these buildings, talking to people about their culture and their heritage. It's all about trying to be part of the community and make the community a better place and make it work better. You know, and my role in that is to try and get legislative change at Westminster level to enable things to work better on the ground here. So it's just a different way of engaging with community, I suppose.
Yes, I was at a festival called How the Light Gets In just before the Brexit vote took place, and Natalie Bennett was speaking, and she had a question from the floor, which was, what happens when you go to someone's house and they start moaning about immigrants? And she said, I just walk away. And I knew at that point we had lost. Because she was not doing what you're saying to do, which is to engage people and engage with the community. And I think one of the things that I wanted to highlight today about this being able to walk around these chambers is that these people that we may view